Here we are on ESPN Deportes, the Tres Amigos. I'm here with John, I can't believe it's not Butters, Adam Sandler, and I'm Eminem. So last year, we saw J.J. Watt being ranked as the #1 player in ESPN's top 100 players, but yet he still did not win the MVP over Aaron Rodgers. Do you think this year he'll have what it takes to win the MVP, despite being a defensive player? Chris, you.
If J.J. Watt didn't have a good enough season last year to be the MVP, nobody will. This is an offensive-minded league. Everybody who votes for the MVP loves quarterbacks. I don't know how you couldn't put J.J. Watt. He even played some offense for those stupid MVP voters that are obsessed with having offensive players as the MVP. He was a tight end for some plays, and he caught, I think, 2 or 3 touchdowns. He did it all. He did it all for the Texans. I don't know. I just don't think it'll be anytime soon a defensive player at any position wins the MVP if J.J. Watt didn't pull it out last season.
John, what do you think?
I think most certainly he can win the MVP this year. I mean, he's going like 20 sacks a year, forced fumbles, interceptions, pick six, catching touchdowns as a tight end from a quarterback that we don't even know who the quarterback is anymore, and he'll still be catching touchdowns. I mean, you can't really argue with this guy. He was #1 for a reason. He's going to be the MVP next year.
But what's he going to do? Jadeveon Clowney is coming back. Vince Wilfork's not part of the equation. They're going to be like stealing his thunder. The last season the season he just had is probably the best season statistically he will ever have. Jadeveon Clowney is going to take sacks from him. Vince Wilfork is going to take fumbles from him. How is he going to improve from last season?
I don't look at that as going to be like taking his thunder. I look at that as going to be improving because now you got one of a high potential player in Jadeveon Clowney. So they're going to have to bring more help for him. They're going to have to take less off of J.J. Watt and put more on Jadeveon Clowney. So that's going to free him up a little more. And he may even go break the sack record this year, or maybe even get another fumble, or another pick six, something more he can add. And he's only going to get better. He's still so young.
I just don't see it because when you have a supporting cast, it makes the team better. It makes the team better. But when you're talking about individual statistics, if you're J.J. Watt on a defense with I don't even know who, like Guy Wimper, whoever the heck they have, obviously you're going to get like 21, 22 sacks with the player he is. And, he's capable of leading a team of complete garbage to a 9-7 record and a possibility for a postseason berth. But now he's got these other guys and he'll be producing, but they'll be producing. I just don't see how he can just get better because last season wasn't good enough for an MVP. They got to keep that in mind.
You made a good point.
I'm actually going to cut you off as we have limited time here, and we're going to have to move on to the next topic.
Want to know here? Want to know? I want.
So obviously, Adrian Peterson coming back to the Vikings on a 3-year, $44 million deal. He's proven to be the best running back in the league in the past. He's won the MVP. Chris, we're going to start with John this time, actually. Do you think Adrian Peterson coming back to the Vikings can be enough to push them to win the NFC North?
Yes, of course he can. I mean, you're talking about a person who has the potential at any time to rush for 200 yards a game or rush for 2,000 yards a season. And that can really help with the development of Teddy Bridgewater in the play action. And that will open up players like Mike Wallace, Charles Johnson, and really help the play action game. And you also got players like Cordell Patterson, who's one of the most dynamic players in the NFL. And all he has to do is just touch the ball to make a play. And I really think that defense has really gotten better in that draft. They picked up guys like Trey Waynes, who will immediately start in that defense, and guys like Eric Kendricks, who was one of the most underrated players in that draft. Supposed to go in the middle of the first round, got a steal with him in the middle of the second round.
Teddy Bridgewater versus Aaron Rodgers. Jordy Nelson versus Mike Wallace. These are the comparisons you're making. I mean, the Packers have been so good for several seasons now, and they've established themselves as a top team in the NFL. They've consistently made it deep. There's no way the Vikings are going to pass them and win the division. Maybe a few years down the road, but Teddy Bridgewater is still developing. These are unproven receivers. Mike Wallace just stank it up in Miami. Charles Johnson, I mean, yeah, he's up and coming, but he's not just gonna break out like out of a magic box or something. And I understand their defense is good, but we've seen defensive teams struggle when they don't have proven players on offense. We saw it in the Texans last year. We saw it, with the Rams the past seasons. I mean, I don't see how you could think they're going to pass the Packers in the NFC North.
But you're comparing position by position. You got to compare those receivers to the defensive backs of the Vikings. Can Xavier Rhodes match up with Jordy Nelson? And I think he can. And even if he can't, you got help from one of the best safeties in the league in Harrison Smith, who also had 5 picks last year. You got Xavier Rhodes, who had 11 pass deflections last year. You got veterans coming on like Terrence Newman, who is a proven cornerback in this league. You also got Captain Munnerlyn coming back, who is not going to do as bad as he did last year. You got Trey Waynes coming in, who has so much potential. I mean, these defensive backs can lock down those receivers they have in Green Bay.
All right, and that's going to end it for us here at ESPN Deportes, the Tres Amigos. I'm Eminem with Adam Sandler and John. I can't believe it's not Butters. Good night.